What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Irish Airlines. Today we are at Lods Airport. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, so the name of the airport will be displayed below. A subscriber requested this a couple of times and I forgot to show it in my latest airport showcase, I believe, so I thought I'd show it off here. Another airport showcase will be uploaded within the next few days, so if you have requested and you're waiting, stay tuned as it is coming. So we're at Lods, as mentioned. This video is going to be about what I think of GloMo so far. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And just a general idea or overview as to what I think. I believe some judgments and opinions I have are similar to others, but let me know what you think after listening to the entire video, if you think I'm wrong or right, or what you think of GloMo so far. So GloMo has been released publicly. Personally, I think it's a little bit too early, but I believe there's method in their madness and there's a motive behind the early release. And I'm not saying this because I'm a beta tester at all, but from beta testing, there's still a lot of bugs. And as I said, there is a reason. I'll explain the reason in a little while. But we're in a Lufthansa CRJ200. This is definitely my favourite aircraft aside from the 737. It is incredibly functional and interactive. Everything in the cockpit that lights up, all the way down to the wipers. You can turn on, you can switch off, you can press, you can pull, you can do everything and anything, and very, very little that's uninteractive within this aircraft. It's absolutely incredible. It's definitely one of my favourite for this, and the model of the aircraft compared to others is definitely good. But yeah, as I say, when I found the wipers, firstly, it actually blew me away, and I know that's so small and childish, but look at them go. It's little things like that on a mobile flight simulator that really surprises me, if I'm honest. And I'm just glad for little things like that. It's the little things in life, guys, you need to focus on. But this aircraft, as mentioned, is definitely one of my favourite. It's the most functional apart from the 737, if not more functional and interactive than the 737. And the model of the aircraft itself is pretty good, I'm not going to lie. The FMC in GloMo, both for this aircraft and the 737, is completely interactive and functioning. You can set it up as you wish to fly wherever you wish, and I have uploaded a video previous to this one showing you how to set up the FMC correctly and how to engage your autopilot to follow the legs of the FMC. So if you haven't seen that, check out the channel, it was uploaded just before this one. The next thing I want to point out is the engine sound within GloMo. It's definitely a point proven that their engine sounds are pretty good. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear this. Let me know what you think of engine sounds down below, or what simulator is better. So yeah, based on that, I'm pretty certain it has one of the best engine sounds for a flight simulator on a mobile device. RFS has a lot of work to do in terms of engine sound, especially on some aircraft like the ATR. I'm hoping they fix that, as I haven't actually checked, and I'm going to have to after this one now that I've said it. Infinite Flight have pretty good engine sounds as well, but in my opinion, I think Xplane GloMo wins a point just based on the sounds of the engines. Next up, we're in the Air Berlin A320, and I have to say this really annoys me because the A320 is probably one of my favourite aircraft in real life. Compared to the 737 in real life, I much prefer the A320. And they've just done such a poor job on this. It's the most uninteractive aircraft within GloMo as far as I'm aware, especially a commercial aircraft. The model of the plane itself isn't great either. And I don't know, it's just, they could have done such a better job modelling this aircraft. They haven't done terrible, but look at this cockpit. It's so bland, it's so plain, the saturation and the lighting within it is so bad, and nothing is interactive. You can see you have your gears, your flaps, your parking, braking, your throttle. That is the only thing interactive within this aircraft. The FMC isn't interactive, the autopilot isn't interactive, lighting systems. And this is where I think Laminar failed us, and I say us as in the community. I think they could have done more. It's pretty much a copy and paste of coding, and then just assuring it's lined up to the correct buttons. Yes, it does take a little bit of work, but when you're releasing a new simulator or a new expansion onto your previous simulator, and you want people to spend €6.50 a month, you gotta include new aircraft, or at least update the aircraft that has been in the game since release. As I said, the model isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. I'm going to be quiet for a second so you can hear the engine sound. It's quite similar to the CORJ. So as you heard, it's pretty much the same as the CORJ. It is still really nice, so I'll give them that. And again, the model of the aircraft, it's not the worst, but they could have done a lot better. They could have paid more attention to the aircraft as a whole, and just, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not impressed at all with the A320. Now, in terms of actual gameplay, I do like the fact you can change the time in the sense of you can have sunrise, sunset, nighttime, daytime, whatever you want. This is my favourite time to fly, which is sunrise. Still definitely my favourite time to fly within this simulator. The saturation sometimes is a bit too much, but it's still nice. It is really, really nice. The only other thing that bothers me is there's no real time, as in where you're flying, and there's no real weather. Now there's all these options for the weather, which is really cool, don't get me wrong. I pointed that out in my first look. I do like the modification included for weather, but I think it should be real weather at this point. It's 2019, you know, RFS has it. I'm not sure if Infinite Flight does, but okay. Well, I guess as we spoke about bugs earlier, here's a great example. I've changed the weather and the lights on the aircraft have turned into lightsabers. This is what I mean. Laminar still has a lot to fix. I don't know what's going on here. Even when I zoom really, really far out, you can still see me light up like a lighthouse, which, again, I'm just showing now that you can go above the clouds, and when you are flying, you will fly to the opposite side and it's sunny, like in real life, which is great. But there I am. You can see me in the distance like a big, huge light bulb. But yeah, I don't know. Laminar really needs to improve it really, really quickly before they plan to get people to subscribe, in my opinion. It's just things like this. It takes away from the realism, and based on how realistic this simulator wants to be, it's not good. It's not good to have bugs like that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the scenery. Now, I have seen people say Infinite Flight scenery is better, RFS scenery is better, Xplane is better, Aerofly is better. But in my personal opinion, I do think Laminar done an incredible job in terms of scenery. There are bugs in relation to the scenery, which you have seen in previous videos. But in general, the scenery is pretty good. Now, how accurate it is, I don't know. Dublin is pretty accurate, I'll give them that. The layout of the country, the scenery around it, Dublin Bay, Dublin Airport, it's incredibly accurate. So I will give them a point. It's great. And again, I keep bringing back the fact it's a mobile simulator. The scenery that your phone or iPad or tablet is capable of showing based on this is absolutely insane. So definitely a point for Laminar in terms of this. Here we have the 777. I really like the 777, even though I'm not a massive Boeing fan. And we're at London Heathrow, which I think they've done a pretty good job on. I'm going to give it to them here. London Heathrow looks pretty accurate. But if you know the airport better than I do, which is probably all of you, let me know what you think of it down below. The 777, I think, again, they've done a pretty good job on the plane model itself. But there are some issues with the 777, and that's why you haven't seen me fly it on the channel as of yet. The cockpit is really detailed, and it's really, really nice, and it is very accurate, even with the orange lighting up the top. But can any of you have geeks see what's wrong? The lights are interactive, the autopilot's interactive, the flaps, the throttle, everything is interactive that needs to be interactive, aside from the FMC. There is no functionality for the FMC, which really, really bothers me. Why have they gone through the trouble of setting up the autopilot system so accurately and so complexly, I guess you could call it? They've put in every single detail, and they haven't introduced a functioning FMC, which to me leaves the autopilot absolutely pointless, because you can't set it to follow headings or flight plans. So yeah, I don't understand Laminar when they do things like this. I really don't. Why do a half-arsed job? Either do no job like you've done in the A320, or go full out and update it so it's like the CRJ or the 737. Oh, rant finished. Other than that, it is a nice aircraft. I like it a lot. It sounds pretty good. It takes up enough space too, so size-wise they've made that quite accurate as well. But yeah, no, it's a good aircraft, but just why Laminar? Why would you set up the autopilot to work and not the FMC? It makes no sense. As I say, either put it like the A320 where you do nothing, or set it like the 737 where you do it all. Don't do an in-between job, okay? Don't get my hopes up. So, a couple of other points to make that I wish were implemented into the simulator before public release, and this, in my opinion, is such a simple thing to implement into the simulator, but they haven't. Static or AI aircraft. Just to have them parked up at terminal gates would be so much more realistic than a Volkswagen Passat parked out in an external car park outside the terminal building. Don't get me wrong, I know having a full car park is meant to give you the impression that people are at the terminal. But then implement passenger bridges that work. These little tiny features would make it so much more better than it is. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad simulator, but there's just so much they could have done with this. Again, AI aircraft, passenger bridges. Simple little features just to give you a little bit more realism. The other thing I wish they implemented, and this is something from me personally that I feel needs to be in every single simulator, especially flight simulator, that wants to claim realism, is ATC. It doesn't have to be complex, because I'm not a complex kind of man. It can just be as simple as call-outs for taxiing, parking, takeoffs and landings. That's it. I don't need anything else. Something as simple as that should have been implemented long ago, and definitely before public release. RFS has it, Infinite Flight has it, and most other simulators have some sort of ATC incorporated into their simulator. Things like this should have been implemented. They haven't been. I'm hoping they will in future updates, but don't just take my word for it. I have no idea what Laminar have planned for future. The only thing that makes me think they rushed this was it was released the exact same day Infinite Flight released their A350 update, and that's why they pushed it, in order to keep the spotlight on themselves. And yeah, but if you have GloMo, let me know what you think down below. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Have you found many bugs? Do you think everything I've said is true or untrue? Anything at all, let me know down below. Again, it's not worth it. It is a good simulator, has a lot of potential. I'm sure they're going to work on it. When Infinite Flight first came out and first released, there wasn't a whole lot going for it compared to how it is now, the same as RFS. So try it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think down below. I'll be sure to read them, and I'm curious what you think of the simulator, what you wish they implemented. Do you feel it was finished and ready for release? Do you feel it was unfinished? Anything at all, just put it down below, and I'll speak to you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.